Hello everyone, I am Sagar Sopanamgar from Akloj, and today date is 2nd February 2022, and today our topic is constructor. Firstly, constructor. Constructor is the as a block of statement, and which is the execute this is the block of this statement. The firstly constructor. Constructor is the same as like to method and class, but constructor is the not constructor is not any written types of the not any return type of the argument, sorry, not any return type of the access modifier, and the not any return type, not any data types, and not any used in white statement and white methods, but constructor is as like to same method. And then constructor is a then constructor is the execution of the very fast as like to method. Then constructor is the same as like to method, but the execution is the different of the method and constructor. Then constructor is the not create object and not need to object, but constructor is initialized to object. Then constructor is the same as constructor is name is the same as the class name. The constructor is there are three types and see one by one. The constructor is the first type is the default constructor, then also called as the zero parameterized constructor. Then second constructor is the non-argument constructor, and third one is the argument constructor. We see one by one. First one, constructor. Constructor is the then this constructor firstly see syntax of the constructor. The syntax of the constructor is the constructor is not used any access modifier, then which is the directly assigned constructor is not used any access modifier as like to public, protected, private, default, but constructor is the to use. Constructor is the to use constructor name is the same as like to uh, class name. Then constructor is the to assign the difference value. Then the syntax of the constructor is constructor constructor name, then the open constructor name, then the open curly brace, then block of the whole statement, then closing curly brace, then the using main method and to initialize the constructor. Then the initialize the constructor is class name, then the variable is equal to new here initialize the constructor, and then constructor name. Then and then the uh, see types of the constructor one by one. First one is the default constructor, second one is the parameterized constructor, and third one is the non-parameterized constructor. Firstly see default constructor. Default constructor is the compiler to create compiler. It is a not create user, not create developer. Default constructor is the not any pass value and not any to pass arguments. Then default constructor is the to not create user, no, if in program not any create object, not create any constructor, to compiler one create one constructor, and then again the display this constructor. Then then we see second constructor. Second constructor is the no argument constructor. The second constructor is the no argument constructor. It is also called as the non parameterized constructor. It is a to not access any value and any parameter that this constructor. It is an empty constructor. It is also called as the zero constructor. We see then the syntax of the zero constructor non parameterized constructor is the constructor name, then the open curly brace, then the whole block of the statement, and then a whole block of the statement, then closing curly brace, then in create main method and to initialize the constructor. Here not any provided any argument and not any pass the arguments. Then the last one is the parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor is to pass the value and pass the argument. This called as the parameterized constructor. The parameterized constructor is also as like to non-parameterized constructor, but non-parameterized constructor is the not pass any value, and parameterized constructor is the pass any value to give the user, yeah, to give the programmer. Here we see the syntax of the parameterized constructor. Here the syntax of the parameterized constructor is to create a create one constructor as same to class name. Then the pass the parameter, for example any value pass. Then open curly brace, then block up the statement, and then closing curly brace. These overall these overall the parameters of the constructor. We see one by one example of the overall types of the constructor. First one is the default constructor. For example, to create one class name test, and then open curly brace. Then here not any write code, and then closing curly brace, and ideally to create main method, public static void main string argument, and then to create the uh, class name objects. Test t is equal to new tester, and closing curly, and then and then t dot t dot I. Here I is the to create compiler, and to create output, the I is equal to 0. Here it is compiler won't create one constructor, and then this is the default constructor. Second one is the non-argument constructor. Non-argument constructor, the example of the to not any create argument, same as the to default constructor. Thank you.